The February meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners, which includes a public hearing regarding sewer rehabilitation and designating an authorized project representative. But in the main meeting, let's have a roll call.
Chairperson Einhauser,
Present.
Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Fagade, Commissioner Forte, Vice Chair Blackman, Commissioner Davis, and Commissioner Kinlock are expected.
All right.
We do have a quorum.
We do have a quorum. Next, then, let's move to the approval of the agenda is before you. Any changes? Well, let's get a motion first. It's been so moved and seconded. Any recommended changes to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. And that is adopted unanimously. Next, we have the approval of the minutes of January the 21st, 2026. What is your pleasure, commissioners?
Recommend approval.
And seconded. Any corrections, amendments, deletions from the minutes as proposed? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. And the minutes are adopted as presented. Item 5 is public comments. Oh, thank you. Who will read the rules of the road for public comment?
To make a comment, please raise your hand by using the raise hand icon on your desktop or mobile device using the Zoom app. If you are calling into the meeting by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. During public comment, after your name is called, you will be given permission to unmute. In order to begin speaking, you will have to unmute yourself. To do so, press the unmute button, which is the microphone icon, if you're online or on the Zoom app, or *6 if you're calling in. At the beginning of your comment, please share your full name and the community or neighborhood you live, work in, or are representing. The timer will start after your introduction. You will have a limit of 3 minutes to make your comment, and please keep your comments to public comment. This is not an opportunity to request information or data, which can be done through the city website and Legistar. If you make a comment, and in order for DWSD staff to follow up with you, we kindly request you complete the comment card link located with the Board of Water Commissioners meeting event posted on the DWSD homepage at detroitmi.gov/DWSD. You will only be called upon once. Once the chair closes public comment, there will be no other comments from the public, and all attendees will remain muted for the duration of the committee meeting. Thank you for your attention.
All right. I have here in the audience, Cindy Dara, I'm sorry, Ms. Dara. Cindy Dara, please come forward and address the board as you please. Good afternoon, ma'am.
One hearing aid. If you turn up your mics, I might hear your meeting. But I came down to talk about the water. And I think somehow, I mean, we've got one of the poorest populations in the United States, and between the property tax and the water bills and DTE, we're going to be hard pressed. So I see so much bad work going on. Now, you didn't do this. DTE took over a month to replace one gas line on Peterborough between Cass and 2nd. Then they went across 2nd about 100 feet and stopped. And that took them a month. And they said they have to change every gas line that's over a certain amount of years old. And so hopefully they're not too many, because our rates, if they take that long to do something, it's going to be hell or high water. Now, I've always thought that we needed to have more coordination between the infrastructure changes instead of digging up holes and then fixing the sidewalk and then, or the street, and then you dig up another hole for another utility. If you're going to replace and try and do a good plan that'll last for years and plan ahead so that you can tap into something and keep track of where things are, then I would say you might be able to do better. And the impervious surface, the biggest one is the streets and the alleys. It's not the roofs and the sidewalks or the driveways. It's the streets and the alleys. And doing this house by house, I tried to do it, and I never did get an answer from you last time I came. I want to know, are you going to give any credit for a dry well? And how do you calculate that? Because that's a way to hold the water back and let it evaporate naturally. I've been trying since you started that program, and I went through your contractor. They didn't even figure out the annual rainfall, which you need the percolation test. They probably didn't want to pay for it. They said I didn't have enough room, but how do they know if we want to have a huge cistern that I could use to flush toilets in the building or even grow wild rice maybe in the backyard? But the point is, it's just, you've got to figure out how to do things in the neighborhood, not just expect each house to take care of that. And when they build these houses, they built them too close because they were greedy. Now they want to build infill and use up most of these small lots, and then the houses are too close and the water destroys each other's house.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dyer. Very good points. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else in the building, in the room here, who would like to address the board? All right, is there anyone online that would like to address the board?
Mr. Chair, we have Cecily McClellan is the first hand that's been raised. Cecily McClellan.
Clellan?
Yes, thanks for this opportunity to speak. Again, Cecily McClellan. I'm with We the People of Detroit. As I have frequently indicated, one of the major concerns of our residents is being able to afford the water bill. With the termination of the original Detroit Lifeline program, many residents were then had to resume their regular bills, which were the problems in the beginning. It's had been very much refreshing to hear the director speak of a consideration that now the new program, Lifeline H2O, will begin to consider arrearages. That had been the number one concern of anybody that calls our hotline, that they, one, can no longer afford their water bill, two, that they've been on easy pay, and because of the payment amount and paying their current bill, they couldn't afford it. So this is truly relief, but it also indicates that water affordability is a primary issue and still needs to be addressed. It is our hope that this board will consider approving this arrearage addition to the new Lifeline program. Is going to be very helpful to many residents that cannot afford their water bill. I have another issue, and it's related to the Revenue Estimating Conference, and it's just a basic concern in looking at the actual reoccurring enterprise and the special revenue funds out of that estimated conference. It indicated that from fiscal year 2025 to fiscal year 2026, $135 million increase in revenue expectations for that period of time. That's from the end of this fiscal year, which will be June 30th, 30th of 2026. And now beginning on July 1st will be a new fiscal year. That's a 23% increase. And I'm just concerned that that increase will be passed on to the residents. What's causing such a large increase? So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. McClellan. I'd like to recognize the director.
Just 2 points. I certainly would invite anybody from the We the People of Detroit's organization, if they have people calling into their hotline that are in need of being in the Lifeline program, if they get those names and contacts over to us, we will certainly prioritize getting them in the program. I've been getting a lot of calls about this revenue conference estimates, and we weren't invited to be a part of it. We put no stock credit in the dollars that are being thrown out at that particular conference. I can assure you that the rates for next year won't exceed 4%. I can assure you that that will be one of the lowest increases in the state. And if anyone would like to be heard at public comment at the Great Lakes Water Authority public hearing on rates, it will be next Wednesday on the 25th. I believe it's at 2 o'clock. And so that would be the time that you would want to be heard. Because as you know, Mr. Chair, they're the wholesaler that will pass their charge increases on to the communities, Detroit being one of those communities. And we'll have to work those charges into our rates for next year. But I just want to assure everyone that our rate won't increase any more than 4% if it gets even to that. Thank you.
We are the customers of someone who has a monopoly. We can't take our business elsewhere, but we're also ably represented on the Great Lakes Board. Is there anyone else who would like to, or is there anyone else online? Yes.
Mr. Chair, the next caller is under the name of Detroit resident.
Okay. Whomever has a screen name of Detroit resident, can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you tell us your name and where you live?
Yes, Joanne Warwick. I live in Detroit.
You have the floor, Ms. Woodward.
Okay, Warwick, but I do tell
Warwick, thank you.
Anyway, that's okay. Thank you. Gee, thank you for 3 minutes. How refreshing. So the first issue I wanted to raise is something that I'm sorry, I didn't think to come to this meeting, but I brought it up with my federal elected officials, and that was my concern for an investigation after the collapse of the Revere cookware site into the Detroit River in 2019. That's how I learned, to my great surprise, that part of the Manhattan Project was being built in Detroit. And by the time the collapse was discovered, thanks to some Canadians, it was very possible that contaminated sediment went through a water intake pipe. I asked the city council to take a look at it. I asked my federal elected officials to take a look at it, and then they do a full-blown investigation. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but I did witness the Detroit City Council enter into a confidentiality agreement with the people who got the property. So I'm deeply concerned about that. People have been raising the water rate issue also and talking about the quality of our water, saying that we could be getting parasites from it. That has me concerned. I'm going to try and boil water. The other thing I wanted to say, if you can share with us what's going on in the neighborhoods where the city wants to build solar farms and they're suing to take people's use restrictions, close off streets. Somebody I know drove by the airport area solar farm they want to do and saw there was water gushing all over the street because when the people were pounding in the piles to put the solar panels up, which by the way, many residents did not want, but the Duggan administration is real good at getting a few people to get in front of the camera and craft false narratives, because I know people who didn't want these things. But anyway, the person who drove by, I guess he asked, like, what's all this water? And when they were pounding in the piles, they were hitting water lines. I don't know if they were water mains, but some kind of water lines. And so I know that we have an aging infrastructure. I know Miss Dara brings it up to all the time, and it's a big investment to separate the stormwater from the sewer water. But very politely, when the city talks about, oh, we got to take people's private property to build these solar farms to eliminate the worst impacts of climate change, they could be referring to a lot of things that are actually infrastructure problems with the water department. And it's, you know, it's too bad that that $826 million of American Rescue Plan Act money, to my knowledge, was not used to solve these problems, you know, for the long term. And I was hoping that you could address some of this about the water problems in the area of the solar farms and what's your involvement? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I forgot, that I really came down to tell you.
30 seconds.
Mr. Chair,
30 seconds. Come on down.
When I worked for public lighting, the older workers told me there was a law in the books that if we could produce our own power, then the utility company, if we buy utility from them, they can't charge us more than wholesale. So I wonder if we could do that with Great Lakes. Are they charging us more than wholesale? Because that's not right. Maybe we can go back. If that law hasn't been repealed, I want to use it now. If you can look into that. It's an old law because I started in 82 to 86 for public lighting. So it's before that. And if it's still on the books, can we use it?
Power at McGurtsky, and it didn't work out in the long run. Okay, who's next?
Mr. Chair, Gwendolyn Howard is the next caller.
Ms. Howard, can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking my call. Well, remarkably, all of my questions were answered by Director Brown before I have to ask them. I also, reiterate the sentiments of Mama Cecily McCullen on the water rates. And so since you asked them, and that's a good thing to pass on to any of our cousins, that you said that it will not go up more than 4%, and the rest of this you guys didn't have anything to do with. So my questions have been answered. I did have them wrote down, but thank you so much for clearing up at least that part of the question. And we will make sure that when we get the calls that they give us their name and address, and so we can have them, run that information over to you so you can put them on the lifeline until we get an actual vote on you saying that will become law. You said you had to take it to the board for them to vote on it, for it to say that you're going to put it on hold. And that's still a question. When you say put it on hold, it'll just be sitting there. So if they do something different, they'll have to pay it later on. So that's interesting, and definitely not a clear definition on how that's going to work out in the long run. Would it just be building up interest, or what? They just pay their current part and their easy pay part, or the $34, and the current difference between the bill, the gap that was paying in the original Lifeline program, will that be considered up under this $34? And then the arrearage that they brought with them is just sitting in a little spot somewhere, just staying right there until they can pay on it? Or how is that going to work? So that's the other question that didn't get answered. But thank you so much for clearing up this 23%. And you're saying it wouldn't go up, and 4% is the high end. So that's good to know. So thank you so much for taking my call and answering my questions before I could ask them. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Howard.
Mr. Chair, I just want to clear up one point that I've heard twice now. As you know, this board came in last week and had a special session in which you voted to allow the policy for the Lifeline program to be changed to allow us to put folks that have arrears into the program. So that's already been done. And so we're not waiting for this board to do that. It was done in a special session last week. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the next caller is Norel Hemphill.
Councilor Hemphill, how are you, ma'am?
Good afternoon. I'm doing well. And yourself, Chair?
Yes.
Good afternoon to the board. My name is Norel Hemphill. I'm the Legal and Public Policy Manager at We the People of Detroit. And I want to thank Director Brown for clarifying those questions that we had with the Lifeline. We do have a list of some residents we've spoken to, so we'll be getting that over to you. And I'm assuming we should get that to Matthew Phillips. That's one of the individuals we've been um, corresponding with at DWSD. That policy change will be huge for residents, as we know that there were literally some elders who were crying because they were fearful that they would lose their water, access to water, and they didn't have any other solutions. Um, the also, as we navigate the landscape of water affordability with policies and laws, um, our local, state, and federal laws and programs, I would again suggest that DWSD supports the Affordable Water Now package with Representative Emily Devendorf, which is currently in the House of Representatives. It's a water affordability package. We think that it would um, be a great solution. It would give a holistic approach to true water affordability that causes it to be income-based for all Michiganders. With that package, the the most important thing is that it does not pair water affordability with any type of revenue stream, which means that the protections that residents have will not diminish if the funds are not there. Um, Also, at the federal level, we ask that DWSD supports water affordability as we're looking to get Lifeline permanently enacted. There are two efforts on that. We ask that DWSD supports both because we know that Michiganders and especially those in Detroit can desperately need and can use those for our water bills. I do want to say thank you again to DWSD for quickly and efficiently fixing a water main or water line. I think it was a water line um, that burst a couple weeks ago outside of our office uh, here at We the People of Detroit. I think it's best as we go forward that we're able to continue to work together to find solutions to water affordability for all Detroit residents. We know that water is a human right, and we thank you again for what you've done in these efforts and continuing to work together.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hemphill. We appreciate your remarks, and you're very welcome.
Mr. Chair, Miko Williams has his hand raised.
Mr. Williams, good afternoon.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Can I be heard, please?
Yes.
First of all, point of order. Can we please stop with the script saying that any data to be requested could be found on the city's website? Because I have been on your website over a week. Some of that information is old. The Lifeline H2O and Easy Pay, not even on the front page for people to get on. What's going on here? And the Legistar, don't get me started about how you're not posting the minutes and the transcripts on time. That's a point of order. It's just very disrespectful and disinviting to residents that have already come here to ask for certain information that could be told by the director or this body. And the second thing is, when are you all going to come back to the community? I've been asking this for so many months and I've not gotten a concrete answer. Is the Detroit Water and Sewage Department Board of Water Commissioners going to go back into the community and meet with the people that is affected, but also those that are trying? I mean, are you even going to give an effort to even have a community, to host community events or to have meetings inside the community in all 7 districts? First of all, I just want to thank Matthew Phillips and Kimberly Crowell in the customer service division for all the work that they do. Working with us in Hydrate Detroit, we did submit some names and people over that we had that were in trouble of their water bills, and I'm very pleased. I am going to reiterate my comments from months ago when I said for the Lifeline H2O, that it should only help people that have been paying their water bill and have been faithfully paying their water bill and have not missed a payment since the Lifeline ended. And now they have high water bills. And now they need to be rectified. And they need to be sought after. They need to be enrolled retroactively, not just call a number when they were already on the program. It's just a lot of problems I've been having with that. I want to be congratulatory. I want to pop champagne. I want to give you all high fives, but I can't do that right now because we still got people hurting that you all have placed. And also the current situation that we have with people in arrears. You know, how many people that have had their water burst and could not get the bills to stop? Are the bills suspended while their water is shut? Because there shouldn't be any charges if there is no service to the home. All of this will be sent in writing, you know, but I just want to say basically, we're all trying and it's a great start to 2026. Let's keep up this good energy and stop going back and forth in the comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams.
Mr. Chair, there are no other hands raised at this time.
All right. There appear to be no other hands raised online. Is there anyone else in the audience in person? Anyone within the sound of my voice want to address the board? Hearing none, then we shall close public participation and we will move on to communications. There is communications responding to inquiries that have been sent for us. Is there a motion to receive and file? Commissioner Blackman.
Move that we receive and file correspondence.
It's been moved, and is there support? Supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of receiving the correspondence and filing it, please say aye. That is adopted unanimously. Number 7, are there any items from commissioners? Okay, hearing none. There is no unfinished business. So we move to item 9, the approval of the consent agenda, items A through D. For the uninitiated, let me say that the consent agenda is our attempt to consolidate consideration of various contracts before us. Some of them are quite large. We don't want to imply that we're giving it short shrift. Most of these items have been considered in detail at the committee level, largely the Finance Committee, and they come to us with a recommendation for approval from that commission. That said, consent is unanimous consent. So does any commissioner wish to remove any item from the consent agenda and consider it separately? I'm hearing none. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through D?
Mr. Chair, I move approval.
Commissioner Forte moves, Commissioner Blackman supports. Any discussion or questions or comments on any of the items before us? And as I indicated, there's almost $1 million involved here. So I don't want to give the impression we consider these things lightly. All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye. Those opposed? And that is unanimously adopted. Commissioner Blackie.
State, these items always come through the committee and there's extensive discussion and explanation of why we are recommending these items for approval.
Yes. And all are invited to attend those finance committees typically on the first Wednesday of every month. Those are online. but we still welcome online participation as well. All right, next we have new business A 2026-43. Commissioners, is there a motion? Tay.
Upon the recommendation of Samuel A. Smalley, PE, Deputy Director, the Board of Water Commissioners for the City of Detroit Water and Sewage Department recommends adoption of the A Final Project Plan for the Detroit Water and Sewage Department sewer rehabilitation and designating an authorized project representative, fiscal year 2027 Clean Water State Revolving Fund, CWSRF, and also authorizes the Chief Financial Officer and the Director to take such other action as may be necessary to accomplish the intent of the vote.
You have a motion and it has been supported, Commissioner Blackman. Discussion? It says Sam Smalley. I don't see him here.
I'm online, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Deputy Director Smalley. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. As was just mentioned, Deputy Director Smalley, can you pull the presentation up, please? So this is our annual process. The Clean Water State Revolving Fund is for wastewater improvements. Next slide, please. The Clean Water State Revolving Fund provides significant benefits to cities like Detroit. We are a significantly disadvantaged community, meaning that we get longer financing periods, 30 to 40 years instead of the typical 20. And we also very frequently get significant amounts of principal forgiveness on the loans. Next slide, please. This project plan provides for an application for $39 million of sewer system improvements, including but not limited to replacement of sewer mains, cured in place pipe rehabilitation, spot repairs, manhole rehabilitation, and of course, restoration of every work site. All of the work will be performed within the existing roads and rights of ways and easements. This will help make sure that we can continue to responsibly collect and convey wastewater to the wastewater treatment plant. Next slide, please. There are, of course, temporary impacts with every construction project, but the benefits are lasting. We do not anticipate any adverse impacts on historical, archaeological, geographic, cultural, or biological areas. They're not expected with this project. This project is necessary to ensure that we can continue to maintain the service level condition of our local combined sewer system. The project plan describes in more details those mains that are actually in need of critical replacement or rehabilitation. And the project cost, we're currently estimating at $39 million, which 100% financing is being requested through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. Next. The areas were selected based on our asset management model, which is a risk-based assessment that looks at the probability of failure times the consequence of failure. As part of that, we looked at customer complaints, future developments, cave-ins, sinkholes, and other data such as that. We use this information to guide our rehabilitation efforts. In the event that 100% grant funding is not obtained, we are not obligated to move forward, but as we typically get a sizable amount of principal forgiveness, that would likely be the outcome. Next slide. There are sewer system improvements planned in every council district. Next slide. I'm not going to read all of these neighborhoods, but this is a significant amount of work across the entire city, again, in every council district. Next. And in terms of the schedule, we are today at February 18th with the draft project plan and public meeting, asking for the board resolution. We intend to go to the GLWA board meeting and likewise get a similar resolution in April, submitting the final project plan to Eagle in May. And the intended use plan from Eagle typically comes out in September or October, which is when we typically find out whether our project is funded and what amount of principal forgiveness is being offered.
One moment, Commissioner Garcia.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to ask the question around the 6th district, which is Springwell's area. And I'm not sure, it's in the location of the lead services replacement. How do you feel that's going to impact, especially after the flood that happened last year and all the damages that was done? And I'm not sure if that's going to help it or hurt it, but I'm just saying we still are dealing with a lot of the stuff after the aftermath. And it's been a year now, and I know there's been a lot of repairs, but along the repairs around the Springfield, 6th district area, how did it impact? And I mean, did it help it? Was it things that needed to be repaired anyways because of the flood? I wasn't sure. I'm just asking about the lead aspects of replacement.
So thank you for the question. This is the clean water, which is actually the wastewater side. So these are sewer system improvements. I will add that after the event last February, all of the sewers in the affected neighborhood were cleaned and televised. Any damages that were found were addressed. We actually did a significant amount of private improvements as well, necessary that may have been caused by the flood. So while this is a sewer system project plan and application, we did, GLWA and DWSD, look at all of the sewers that were impacted by the flood. Hopefully that answers your question.
Commissioner Blackman.
No, we are acronym, what should I say, favorable, extremely favorable to acronyms. But if there's a way for us to, when this is posted online, especially for customers who may not be familiar with our acronyms, is there a way for us to spell out what those acronyms mean?
Yes, we can absolutely do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Smalley?
Next slide, please. So we're asking for the board to approve the project plan and adopting the resolution. Next slide. And that concludes the clean water or wastewater SRF presentation.
All right, we have.
Mr. Chair, there is a resolution on page 40.
All right.
Commissioners to read.
First, are there any questions for Deputy Director Smalley regarding his presentation and the resolution that's before us?
Chair, can I just maybe just add just one quick point with regards to District 6 and lead service lines? 3 years ago, when we started the program, we started in the 6th precinct, right behind the old 6th precinct off of McGraw in District 6, because it had such a densely populated area with a lot of kids. The challenge that we ran into was everybody had a fence. I mean, we go nowhere else in the city of Detroit where there's a fence at every house. But we got past that obstacle, and that's where we started. When that 54-inch water main broke, it pushed a tremendous amount of mud and dirt into the sewer system, even further than the 400-house footprint. And we made sure, Deputy Director Smalley made sure that he worked with Great Lakes Water Authority and that we cleaned and assessed every sewer within the footprint of that break. And if damage was done because of the break, it was repaired. So I think, yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of that event. And I just want to assure everybody in that area that they have some of the cleanest sewers in the city, because we just recently went through and cleaned them all.
Commissioner.
Mr. Director, as you well know, even since last year, we had put on record, we wanted to go on record to show that the second bridge that was built in our community did a lot of damage to our community. And it was okay. I guess we were expendable. But I think that the issue is very clear that pounding in that area has hurt the homes and their foundations. And we're talking more than 500 homes. And in this process, as they go to negotiate and open, or God knows what's going to happen there. But the issue has been very clear that I've not seen anybody, I know I tried to put in a complaint with the state and they said you can't sue the government, but you know, the issue is that, the issue is very concerning is that those homes have been damages. Some people moved out and have not moved back. And I know that the pounding in that area with the sinkhole that happened like 6 months before that, it has to be that pounding that went on longer than they expected. It went on 2 years longer than they expected. So I don't know. I think as we look forward to this situation and they're going to be negotiating with our people across Canada, is that people need to make sure that they understand the damage that they did to this community. I think that's very important as we look at it. The homes are, I don't know if they're insurable. They've already said, that's really out of the question. So I just want to make sure that we go on record because I'm very concerned about that. Okay? Thank you.
All right. Would any commissioner care to read the resolution on page 40? Not just read it, move it.
Chair. So this is the resolution adopting a final project plan for the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department for Sewer Rehabilitation 27 Clean Water State Revolving Fund, CWSRF project. Whereas Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, DWSD, and the Great Lakes Water Authority, GLWA, recognize the need to make improvements to its existing sewer system that are owned and operated by the City of Detroit and that are physically located within the city limits. And whereas DWSD prepared a Clean Water State Revolving Fund project plan, which recommends sewer replacement and rehabilitation throughout the city of Detroit. And whereas said project plan was presented at the public meeting held on Wednesday, February 18th, 2026, and all public comments have been considered and addressed. And whereas DWSD formally adopted said project plan and agreed to implement the identified selected alternative of sewer system rehabilitation as described in said document as evidenced by the DWSD resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that Detroit Water and Sewerage Department formally adopts said project plan document and agrees to implement the selected project design. Be it further resolved that the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department Director, a position currently held by Gary Brown, is designated as the authorized representative for all activities associated with the project referenced above, including the submittal of said project plan document as a first step in applying to the state of Michigan for Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan to assist in the implementation of the selected alternative.
All right, that is the motion. Is there support? It's been moved and it is supported. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, let's call the roll. Yes.
Vice Chair Blackman? Yes. Commissioner Garcia?
Yes.
Commissioner Kinlock?
Yes.
Commissioner Fagade?
Yes.
Commissioner Forte?
Yes.
And that is adopted unanimously. Next, let's move to item B, 2026-44. And do we have a resolution with this one as well?
We do.
What page?
Page 6.
Motion before the resolution, though.
Yeah, the resolution is the motion. Yeah,
The item, and then the remainder is the resolution comments
okay.
letter. And you're calling on me to do it, right? You're looking at me. Okay. Upon recommendation of Samuel A. Smalley, PE, Deputy Director of the Board of Water Commissioners for the City of Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, recommends adoption of the A final project plan for the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department water main replacement and rehabilitation, and designating an authorized project representative funding year 2027 Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and also authorizes the chief financial officer and the director to take such other action as may be necessary to accomplish the intent of this vote. That requires, I'm sorry.
Is there support? Any discussion?
Do I have to read the resolution on page 40?
Mr. Chair, he has a presentation.
Oh, we have a presentation.
Mr. Smalley?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Okay, so this is the fiscal year 2027 Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Project Plan. Next slide. So the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, we are seeking low interest loans for fiscal year 27. Detroit is categorized as a significantly disadvantaged community, which allows us to extend the financing period from the typical 20-year to a 30 or 40-year period. It also frequently results in Detroit getting substantial principal forgiveness. Next slide, please. So this project plan includes 2 water main replacement projects and 3 lead service line replacement projects for a total of $70 million. The work will include, but not be limited to, excavation of water mains, hydro excavation of service lines, installation and rehabilitation of pipes, full replacement of lead service lines, pressure testing, and of course, restoration of every work site. All of the work, with the exception of lead service line replacements on the private side, will be performed in the right-of-way and easements. And while there are always impacts due to construction projects, these improvements are necessary to ensure the continuous, reliable, safe drinking water delivery to our customers. Next slide. We do not anticipate any adverse impacts on any historical, archaeological, geographic, or cultural areas. The project is necessary so that we, DWSD, can consistently provide high-quality potable water to our residents. The project plan specifically describes the water mains in need of critical replacement. And again, this is a $70 million request, 100% being requested through the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, with approximately $20 million in water main replacement for Project A, $20 million for Project B, and $10 million for 3 separate full lead service line replacement projects. Next slide. So we are proposing with contract WS 757 replacing approximately 5.7 miles of vintage cast iron water main, typically sized 6 and 8 inches in diameter, and any lead service lines that we encounter will be fully replaced. The project locations are south of 6, Rosedale Park, Grand Mountain Number 1, Hobo Puritan, and Belmont. Next slide. And these are the specific locations for WS 757. And again, these locations, all of these locations have been selected based on our asset management program that looks at overall risk being the probability of failure times the consequence of failure. The probability of failure, we look at customer complaints, water main break history, what year was it installed, what material is it, and how has that material performed over the decades. And the consequence of failure is, are there any schools, hospitals, major thoroughfares being affected, and other things like that we look at in terms of consequences. Next slide. Project B, WS 758, in districts 6 and 7, will be replacing about 5.4 miles, again, typically size 6 and 8 inch water mains, an estimated cost of $20 million. In the West Outer Drive, Fiskhorn, Davison, Schoolcraft, Northwest Community, and Chadsey, Condon. And these are the specific streets where water mains are being replaced. Next slide. And next slide. Then we are also proposing 3 standalone lead service line replacement projects. These projects will replace both the public side and private side. We're anticipating that each project will get approximately 1,000 full lead service lines replaced. All 3 of them totaling about $30 million in the neighborhoods listed below. Next slide. The pins are indicating the specific neighborhoods where we are proposing to do these improvements. And again, when we select neighborhoods, we look at the number of children, the number of infants, the number of seniors, the vulnerable customers. We look at the socioeconomic conditions. We take a lot of data into consideration when selecting these, making sure that we're addressing the most vulnerable neighborhoods first. Next slide. And the project schedule, we are at February 18th today, asking the board to approve the resolution. We intend to go to the GLWA board in May, submitting a final project plan to Eagle in June, and then finding out the intended use plan from Eagle either in September or October, with construction starting in the first or possibly second quarter of fiscal or calendar year 27. Next slide. So we are asking for the board to approve the resolution at this time.
All right. Sam, are we keeping a running total of lead replacement lines since the crisis emerged?
We're at about 16,000 overall. At one point, we were doing 250 a week. However, the funding that we had obtained to support that pace has we have not seen that type of funding recently. We are continuing to look both in the philanthropic, state, and federal arenas, trying to find more funding and trying to carry the message that this is very important, but we need assistance. As Director Brown said, in order to keep the rates at or below 4%, we need help. And we want to get the lead out as quickly as we can. We've shown that we can lead the nation in this process, but we need the funding.
16,000 out of approximately how many?
I believe that we have about 70,000 left.
Okay. Well, it's a good dent. And there is no clear and present danger with lead lines unless, you do some of the off-label things that they did in Flint, but nonetheless, our goal is to get them all replaced.
I will remind the board and our customers that every year we do our lead and copper testing where we sample in excess of 50 homes. We turn those samples in. There is a federal limit and a state limit. The state limit, which is one of the most stringent in the country right now, is the state of Michigan, which is 12 parts per billion. And we came in at 7.8 parts per billion. So we are well below the federal limit for lead and copper. Once again.
All right. Thank you very much. Comments or questions? Yes, Commissioner Blackman.
Mr. Smalley said that they don't anticipate adverse effects on historical sites. Is there a possibility?
There's always a possibility. Since there is federal funding attached to this, the National Environmental Protection Act requires us to look at those different categories and anticipate if there are going to be any impacts. And we have done that analysis and we do not anticipate.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Commissioners, may we have a reading of the resolution on page 60? Commissioner Kinlock?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Right here. Mr. Chair, whereas the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, a resolution adopting a final project plan for the Detroit Water and Sewage Department for water sewage system improvements, fiscal year 27 drinking water state revolving fund project. Whereas the Water and Sewage Department and the Great Lakes Water Authority recognize the need to make improvements to its existing water distribution system that are owned and operated by the city of Detroit and that are physically located within the city of Detroit limits. Whereas DWSD has prepared a drinking water state Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Project Plan, which recommends water main replacement and associated deficiencies, including removal of certain lead service lines in the south of 6 Rosedale Park, Grandmount Number 1, Hubble, Puritan, and Belmont neighborhoods in the city of Detroit. Further referenced as WS 757 Project A. And whereas DWSD has prepared a drinking water state revolving fund project plan, which recommends water main replacement and associated including removal of certain lead service lines in the West Outer Drive, Fiskhorn, Davison, Schoolcraft, Northwest Community, and Chadsey Condon neighborhoods in the city of Detroit, further referenced as WS 758 Project B. And whereas DWSD has prepared a drinking water state revolving fund project plan, which recommends lead service line replacement and associated appendages. Help me with this word.
Appurtenances.
In the Grandmount, Springwells, Boynton, and Dexter Linwood neighborhoods in the city of Detroit. And whereas the project plan was presented at a public meeting held on Wednesday, February 18th, 2026, and all public comments have been considered and addressed. And whereas DWSD formally adopted said project plan and agreed to implement the identified selected alternative of water main and lead service line replacement as described in said document as evidenced by the DWSD resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the Detroit Water and Sewage Department formally adopts said project plan document and agrees to implement the selected project design. Be it further resolved that the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, a position currently held by the Director of Water and Sewage Department, a position currently held by Gary Brown, is designated as the authorized representative for all activities associated with the project referenced above, including the submittal of said project planning document as the first step in applying to the state of Michigan for a drinking water state revolving fund loan to assist in the implementation of the selected alternative. I so move the adoption of the resolution. Thank you. Thank you.
Any discussion?
A requirement.
No, I'm very glad to see this one process. Godspeed. All right, let's have a roll call vote. Resolution, Commissioner Penrod.
Chairperson Einhauser,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Blackman,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes. Commissioner
Kinlock,
Yes.
Commissioner Fagade,
Yes.
Commissioner Forte.
That is unanimously adopted. All right, now do we move to our open meeting? Or public hearing? Item 11. We'll open the floor to anybody who has any comments on the previous two resolutions. Does anyone have any comments?
You got somebody?
All right.
Mr. Chair.
Hearing,
We don't have any hands raised online.
we will close public.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. Just as I was saying that, I did have one hand that was raised, Norel Hemphill. Norel Hemphill.
Ms. Hemphill.
Regarding the resolution.
Ms.
just read.
Hemphill, can you hear me?
I can. It took a moment for them to get to me to unmute me. I had two quick questions. I'm glad that we are continuing to move to get lead service lines removed out of Detroit to ensure that our water is safe for all residents. One quick question. I noticed that you voted, the body there voted on the resolution before public comment, but in the resolution itself, it says that all public comments have been considered before the adoption of the resolution. What effect does working out of order have on the vote? That's one of the questions I had. And then also, I know, Mr. Smalley, you said there was a lot of information that was considered that went into deciding where these projects are beginning and everything. Where can that information be found? And then finally, I just wanted to note on lead, while the federal limits are 15 parts per billion, the state limits are 12 parts per billion, and we're finding 7 parts per billion of lead here in the city of Detroit. There is no amount of lead that is safe for human consumption. Lead is indeed a neurotoxin, and it lives in the body, they think, for 3 generations. So it is particularly important for us to remove these lead lines in a very quick manner. And then I think it's a little bit, it can be a little bit confusing and not to alarm people, but we need to let the public know that we do have lead in our pipes here in Detroit, and it doesn't take a catastrophic event like what happened in Flint. And of course, a lot of negligence and oversight, and really the government working in concert to create a situation like that. It does not take a situation like Flint to impact people for lead lines. We do have a lead line, an issue with lead here. As you see, you sample 50 households and found lead. I suggest that we sample more. I know there was a time when we did used to sample up to 200 households, and that information was readily available quarterly in our mailboxes. So if I could, again, if you could tell the public, all of us, where to find the information that was considered in making these decisions, and then also where we can find our lead information for our public consumption. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to,
Yes, just wanted to call a point of order.
What's your point?
Order is, I would like to I would like to place a motion of reconsideration for items A and B that we voted on, that we vote to reconsider those items.
Robert's rule says that anyone who votes in the affirmative has the prerogative to move for reconsideration. That was adopted unanimously, so that includes us all. Is there support for the motion for reconsideration? Let's continue this discussion, and then we'll move to Commissioner Kinloch's point of order. Comments from commissioners?
I think that
Yes.
Mr. Chair, we still have
Oh, all
a few
right.
other public comments.
All right. Who is next?
Miko Williams.
Mr. Williams. D'Amico?
I believe Mr. Williams dropped off.
All right. If he comes on, we will recognize him. Anyone else?
The next caller is LaTanya Bell.
Bell?
Bell, Ms. Bell.
Yes. Ms. Bells, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
You have the floor, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. I'm LaTanya Bell. I'm also a member of the We the People of Detroit Water Peeps, co-executive director for the Wisdom Institute, in which we service Black women and children throughout the community of Detroit. I just had questions in regards to Mr. Smiley's presentation in regards to the vote. Just wondering, where can we find that information for communities to vote on the areas in which they want prioritized for lead lines? And I thought that I heard him say that there were some votes or some information that was gathered that helped determine that. Just wondering if those, if that information was shared, like how to vote, where you go to vote, and where was that located? And if there's a way that that information can also be shared through the DWSD website, or is there an area on the website that we can direct our community to actually place a vote?
Mr. Chair, if we allowed the the community to vote on where we would work on lead service lines, everybody would want their community to be the area that we were removing lead service lines. And so what Mr. Smalley was referring to is a policy and a criteria that we use to determine what areas that we're going to go into. And then he described some of the characteristics, density of population, number of kids that are in those particular areas, as well as, remember, we're replacing the water mains. And it's the water main that needs to be repaired, and there happens to be a lead service line attached to it. And so we couldn't possibly allow the community to vote on that particular issue. It wouldn't be efficient. We certainly do allow the community to have input, as we are with this public hearing, but I don't want anyone to misinterpret the policy that we use, the characteristics that we use in determining where in this city we're going to start working.
Yeah, right. I think I can speak for everyone. If we all had our way, the whole city would be scheduled to have the water lines replaced. But what I understand the staff is doing is the equivalent of a medical triage. It is where is the greatest need and where is the greatest potential threat.
And let me just say that there's no city in this state that has done 10,000 lead service lines in 1 year other than Detroit. And I would venture to say the city of Flint didn't do 10,000 lines in 10 years. There's no city, Chicago, around the country that is maximizing the number of lines that are being removed more than the city of Detroit, including Chicago and some larger cities with many more lines than we have. We still are outpacing all the other cities, and we're doing it cheaper at $9,000 a line as opposed to $23,000 a line. So I think a lot of other cities are modeling how we do this and our policies around it in order so that they can become more efficient.
Commissioner Blackman.
Be advisable, but it would seem to me that putting that on our website, that statement of no other city has done what we have done, and giving you the statistics on it would be helpful.
We can arrange that.
All right. Other comments or questions?
Mr. Chair, we still have 4 more hands that are raised at the moment, and the next caller is with
Who's
the
next,
screen
please?
name of iPhone.
All right. The gentleman or lady with the screen name iPhone, can you hear me? Tell us your name and where you live. All right. If Mr. or Mrs. iPhone come back, we will recognize them.
We can move to the next caller. It is Rosalind Walker. Rosalind Walker.
Ms. Walker.
How you doing today? My name is Rosalind Walker. I am with People's Water Board Coalition. And the question that I wanted to ask was, with all the lead, redoing all the lead pipes, could you tell me how much it would cost, to do all the replacement of the lead service lines in Detroit?
$900 million, Mr. Chair.
Wow. And another thing, with you guys also getting loans from wherever and whoever, would that make our rates go up higher?
As Mr. Smalley indicated, most of the state revolving funds are forgivable interest loans. We can't borrow through the bonding, through banks with bonds cheaper than a state revolving fund. This is almost like borrowing free money.
Okay, so the residents wouldn't have no higher rates at all. We wouldn't be affected at all.
I'm going to go as far as to say there wouldn't be any effect. Obviously, 15% of our overall budget is based on servicing debt. And this would become debt, but it would be at a very advantageous interest rate.
And then another thing with the Lifeline program, I was on the Lifeline program for the time that it did last. So I tried to apply for the new service that they had. And with that, they saying that you have to pay your balance and then be able to get on the program. I'm unable to pay that balance. So what I
You
did,
should reapply today.
okay, I'm gonna apply today. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, we'll try the username iPhone again. iPhone, you can unmute yourself.
Sir or madam, screen name iPhone, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, would you, hello, ma'am, would you please tell us your name and what neighborhood you live in?
Yeah, Cindy, Dara, and I live in, on Peterborough between Cass and Second. A couple things. I'd like to know, lead is pretty stable. Now, if we weren't using chlorine in our pipes with the water to try and keep it sterile, then what would we have to worry about lead coming out of the pipes?
Yeah.
I'd like to know that because I've always saw Seminole, and he was a chemist, and he said that's a very stable thing. When they first came up with lead, it was because of all the housing in Boston was painted, you know, a lot of frame houses painted, and that lead got into the dirt. That's when they first got upset about that. But anyway, so I question whether, and also when you do any of these repairs, like you're bringing in, my dream is that someday we will filter our drinking water better than the rest of the water we're using for toilets and so forth. And so I want a special drinking water line coming into every house in the future. So when you're doing these lines, could you run an extra line in there so that if we decide we want to bring in water just for drinking, that'll be capable of doing, and then keep track with GPS type equipment so you know exactly where the connections need to be made if you want to go back and connect that to something where people have better drinking water. And that's like thinking in terms of the whole infrastructure. If you're doing stormwater, maybe block by block, and you go down. If you're going to do a new alley, why don't you do the stormwater alleys and get that water out of the alleys, out of the, you know, so it's separate, and take it into like a cistern on the block somewhere or in the neighborhood that people can pump out. They'd have to run lines back to the property so they could, along the alley, they could actually send the water down there and then have another line when they bring it back. They'd have to have electric pump too, probably, to be able to pump it both ways. But anyway, or they could do some kind of, you know, if it was sloped right and I don't know. But I want you to start thinking in terms of the future, how we can make a better society here, and just fixing up old stuff. If you have real big drains, and then if you go to real small sewage, and then what if you get a high density developed there later? So that's the challenge I see is if you don't know what your plans are and you can't be too big, I don't know what the answer is to that, because if you get too big, it won't flow right. That's what's wrong, I think, with low density
Ms.
housing on
Dara,
the east side.
Ms. Dara,
Yeah.
Ms. Dara, your time is up. Thank you
Oh,
very
okay.
much.
You don't have a clock on this thing. See, and I didn't know when you said iPhone, usually they tell me my name, but I guess it's not, your program isn't the same as city council.
Listen,
Thank you.
we'll try and remember. We haven't seen you in a while. Glad that you
Well,
were
yeah,
here today.
I had to rush back to my car. The app didn't work on the parking. I got over there and that's why I left early.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Beulah Walker is the next caller. Beulah Walker.
Hello, good afternoon. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking my call. This is Beulah Walker from Hydrate Detroit. I just want to let everybody know, thank them for their hard work, Director Brown, the Director Sam Smalley. I appreciate to hear that I'm going to be replacing more water lines. That is wonderful news. That is good news. And I also have a request, if I could, please. First of all, thank DWSD and their hardworking men and women for those 81 water main breaks. I do have a request for Mr. Sam Smalley, if he could. We had a client, Sherry Welch, back in 2014, where the water department came out and cut her water off because they detected a leak in her water service line and they cut her water off. So I'm just wondering, can we somehow use the same mechanism to detect Sherry Welch's leak in these water main breaks, a meter or something, a bell or something on it? Because I'm not an engineer, but I am a construction worker, but I just wonder how leaks can be detected and interruptions can be detected and 3/4 inch main lines when 16 and 43 feet can be detected, and we have all these concerns. But that is wonderful news that we are getting clean water. Okay, I love you. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
If you can give us her address, we'd be happy to take a look. We have acoustical listening equipment that can pinpoint leaks.
Oh no, she's
Right,
fixed now.
don't,
She's
don't
fixed.
don't give us your address we'll put it in the
No,
comments.
no, the situation is fixed. But I just wonder how hers was detected and the main lines are not detected. That's all.
All right.
Yeah.
Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, one reminder that the public comment is open only as to the two resolutions that were presented before the board. So all public comments are limited only as to Resolution 2026-43 and Resolution 2026-44. So reminder for the public comments. Thank you.
Use a broad standard regarding relevance.
Yes. Mr. Chair, we have Mr. Miko Williams has his hand raised.
Nico.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, commissioners. And just a point of order, we are clear about the two resolutions that's on the table, and we are addressing them. They are related to these questions of quality. D'Amico Williams, Chief Executive Director of Hydrate Detroit, and I want to make a statement along with some questions. Hydrate Detroit, we support the water, the resolution for the revolving drinking water fund. This is something that is required to keep the public health and safety of the Detroit Water and Sewage Department. It's been going on for many, many years, and I am grateful and thankful for the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, along with its director, to allow us public comment, to weigh our input, and to also weigh our concerns so that they could take it to consideration. Thank you so much for doing that. I had a concern about the 50 homes. How are these homes selected? Are they selected through different 7 districts, or are they selected? I remember me saying in 2018, 2019 to Director Smalley that he should add more homes. It is correct. It used to be 250 homes, but they were spread across each district. Since then, we have had concerns of the water quality. We have had more boil water alerts, and we have also had concerns with discoloration in the water. And those concerns need to be made whole, public, and to be resolved. I also have a concern about the workers, the maintenance, and the quality of the water. Since we do have capital improvement subcommittee, and we get reports through that, when it comes to this particular destination, we want to make sure that all of the lines that are being taken out and replaced, and it should have been done at the site of 2016 or 2017 when the announcements were made. Also, the GLWA, what type of partnership do you have with them in replacing service lines? When I think of the young man, Naveed, I also think about to what degree do they have with consideration and partnership with these water and sewer lines, since they are leasing our water department and since we are a customer of their wholesale. I just want to know more about the partnership and the collaboration, or if there is, in concerns of these lines to be replaced. Let's not be like Flint, please. We do have the best water in the nation, but now it's being questioned. Thank you for taking my comments. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
That's one issue, Mr. Chair. DWSD certainly does testing on hundreds of lead service lines during the year, just in our normal course of business. If the health department has a kid that shows up at a doctor's office or a hospital and they test positive for lead, we go out and test that home just so that that family can rule out the source being water and find the real source that's contaminating kids. It is EPA who dictates that we send in 50 tests a year. They want us to use the same homes every year if possible, so that there's a baseline to see if there's an increase in elevation. And so we're going strictly by the guidelines that are dictated by the regulatory agency, EGLE, of the state of Michigan. But I don't want anyone to believe that during the course of the year, we only test 50 homes. In our normal course of business, we test many, many more than 50 homes. And you're going to see when the results come out that there are going to be suburban communities surrounding the city of Detroit that are above the actionable level. To be at 7.5 is a remarkable number and a tribute to the hard work that we're doing at DWSD. So I just want to make that clear. It's not just 50 homes that we look at during the year.
And anybody who has a home that was built earlier than 1972 has lead paint. And people are much more aware of that. And when homes change hands, there's usually a big effort to remediate the lead paint. You can paint over it with non-lead paint, but you have to be very cautious to make sure there's no chipping, and it's unfortunate that that still is a major source of lead poisoning in kids. All right.
Fortunate part is the lingering effects on students, on children. If it was something that you could just say happens and it's gone, but it's unfortunate that that has a lingering, long lasting detrimental effect on the education of our children and their ability to be successful.
Mr. Chair, there are no other hands raised online, and it appears that there was no one in person either.
Move public hearing be closed.
It's closed, granted. We have the resolution. It has already been read, and it's a matter of public record. But on the motion to reconsider that resolution, and we take that with gratitude to Ms. Hemphill, who points out that we passed resolutions that said we considered the public hearing before we had the public hearing. So, any questions or comments by any commissioners on the motion to reconsider? Nobody wants to get in the way of replacing lead lines. All right, let's have a roll call vote.
Chairperson Einhauser,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Blackman,
Be considering you saying yes?
Yes.
So no, we're reconsidering so that we can vote on, see, we held the
Reconsidering, and do you want it yes or do you not want it no?
What I'm saying is we're voting, the motion is to reconsider our action and voting for items A and B so that we can vote on those items again. So it's the vote, a yes vote allows for us to vote on those items again. And a no vote, violates what the intent, well, I'm saying, we're following the process.
Roll call vote. On a motion to reconsider the two resolutions, any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimously adopted. All right, Now on the reconsideration of the two resolutions, both of which are a matter of public record, so they don't need to be read again. Can we have a roll call vote?
Mr. Chair,
Order. Okay.
and the motion is, Mr. Chair, I move that item A and B, after we have heard the public hearing and received comments from the public, that I move that we adopt item A and B.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion, questions, or comments? And from time to time, we know that Commissioner Kinlock is a commissioner here and a commissioner for Wayne County. So we call him Commissioner Kinlock. Thank you for your parliamentary guidance. All right, please call the roll.
Chairperson Einhaus,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Blackman,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia,
Yes.
Commissioner Kinlock,
Yes.
Commissioner Pagade,
Yes.
Commissioner Forte.
And that is adopted unanimously. All right, next we move to item 12, the director's report.
I'll be brief. I just want to update you on a few items. First of all, Deputy Director Smalley is, I believe, in Cincinnati doing some training and looking at some of the latest new technology, equipment-wise, that DWSD may be investing in. So we have with us today our Chief Operating Officer, Erica Miat, who is also responsible for motivating the crews that are out there working 7 days a week, some of them 12 hours a day, to fix our water main. So we appreciate the work that they're doing.
Good thing.
Lots of cookies, Mr. Chip. I've talked about the 10,000 lead service lines that we did. I won't go back over that, but I do want to go back over the fact that, a year ago, 18 months ago, we had $30 million to service Lifeline. Today, we have $4.5 million that will support approximately 4,500 families in the new Lifeline H2O. There are currently 2,000 families in the program now, which leaves enough dollars to support another 2,500. That list is filling up quickly. And so I urge the advocates that have called in, if they have a list of clients that are in need of those services, that they don't delay in getting us those names, because once we fill up the 2,500 and come to our max, we're out of money for Lifeline, and we can only offer them easy pay. Now, I'm cautiously optimistic that when the governor announced in March the new state budget, I am cautiously optimistic that there will be dollars available statewide for water affordability. How much WSD gets is at least I don't have a good guess. I'm hoping at minimum we get $5 million. That would allow us to go from 4,500 to 10,000 families, a long way from 30,000, but certainly a lot better than the 4,500 we have now. So again, if you know of people that would qualify to be in this program, if you were in the program before and you're no longer in the program because you had arrears, this body has changed the policy. We listened to the advocates as they called in. We agreed with them, and we changed the policy in order to allow families that have current arrears to get into this program.
Who's responsible for being the liaison between us and the governor to try to get the money?
ultimately, that's the executive branch of local government over at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. But certainly, we have lobbyists. I have Deb Poshpiece that spends as much time in Lansing as she does in Detroit. We're writing editorials. I'm speaking at a global summit. I'm speaking nationally, and certainly I have spoken in Lansing on this issue. And so it's all hands on deck. We're doing everything we can to try to, and we would appreciate any support from the advocates that we stand together on this one issue of trying to find additional dollars to permanently fund Lifeline. That's what we all want. And so we may disagree on how the program's structured and some other things, but we all agree on we need additional dollars in order to service those families that need it.
Suggesting that we as board members could also contact our legislators and for the support that we need. And maybe there's a general statement that we could be given that would help us.
Like our law department to craft a resolution on behalf of the board, we'll be more than happy to do that and get it to Lansing with all due speed. Okay, thank you for offering that and reminding me that it's available. So I've talked about Easy Pay, I've talked about Lifeline. We've spent enough time on lead service lines, the fire hydrants in the city. The good news is that the fire department is done doing all their inspections, so the numbers should no longer start to increase. They will only come down as our COO gets the crews to work on those lines. So that's all good news. And I'll just finally end with, I think when I got here this morning, we had approximately 110, maybe a few more water main breaks. I've asked our CFO to find another $500,000 to put 2 more emergency contracts in place so that we can give some relief to the men and women that have been working 7 days a week. And in my mind, if we ask these crews to be able to do 2 a day, two breaks a day. The circumstances don't always allow it, but if you've got 11 crews and you're doing 2 a day in another week to 10 days, if the weather continues to moderate, we should see drastic numbers come down and we can get back to a more normal state. So I'm confident by the time we have your next meeting that there will be a positive report on the broken water mains, as long as the weather, we don't refreeze. So, Mr. Chair, I'll leave it there. I know it's been a long meeting and
That's what they say about Michigan weather.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to share a bit of good news with some kudos to 2 specific employees.
Please.
We just received $5.7 million from FEMA from the June 21 flood event. Latonia Jones, one of our PAAs, and LaShonda Davis, our deputy CFO, have both played a very instrumental role in navigating the gauntlet of both FEMA and Michigan State Police audits and paperwork and forms. So they did a fantastic job carrying the ball this far. We are due another $600,000 from that event that is in the works. So congratulations and thank you to those 2 specific employees and the entire team that responded to that horrific event. Thank you.
And Mr. Smalley, correct me if I'm wrong. I know I read in the Detroit News a couple of days that the Army Corps was awarded $9 million to come into Detroit and work on lead service lines. So that's in addition to what you've heard
That's
today.
correct. That's correct.
Excellent. All right. Anything else, Mr. Director?
The opportunity.
Commissioners?
Hear the good news.
Comments by the chair. Last week, we had a chance to welcome our new commissioner, Amadala Fergade, and we're glad you're here for the first meeting. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about your background and yourself? We get a little better acquainted.
I do that, I noticed, okay, I think it's working now. The mic didn't seem to work before. Very honored to be here. I think this is the first meeting where I'm seeing a full house, aside from Commissioner John Henry Davis over here. My background is in energy infrastructure. I've worked in the utility sector for quite a while. I have over 11 years in the industry. And generally, I'm just the power guy, right? I've always been interested in that. I grew up in an underserved community in Nigeria, and Detroit has been my home for quite a while now, and I've loved it. And I'm all about equity. I'm all about using, the resources that the earth has, given us, that God has given us to provide opportunities for industrialization, for equity, for better living. And this is my second time in this building, and I'm seeing just how organized, dedicated, passionate you all are. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be an addition, to bring value, to serve. So as of today, I own my own company. I'm the CEO of Geoprime Energy. We are energy infrastructure developers. We build infrastructure in underserved communities, also for critical industries. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Well, thank you very much and welcome aboard. I have no other comments. Is there anything else to come before this meeting of the board? Hearing none, then a motion to adjourn is in order. Been supported. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Any opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Black. You know, they're low. I know they be there. Oh, really?